Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. Another episode. Georgie, what? Georgie's already complaining about something. We just started the podcast.
Yeah, because it's 1 a.m.
It is 1 a.m.
That's the problem.
Per usual.
We're trying to get the content out to the people. All 10 of our subscribers on our current new YouTube channel are waiting for more podcasts.
We're up to 10 subscribers?
We're up to 10 subscribers.
Well, for my channels. What is you?
So, as usual, before we get started, make sure you guys follow us on all social media. The YouTube, we have a new channel that we're uploading all of these full-length videos on, and it is youtube.com/@thenextgoalwinspod podcast.
Or click the link below.
I don't think I put a link below.
Every time you do that, you never do.
I never put the overlays, Joe's like this. TikTok's doing well. We've had some good videos. TikTok, I tell these guys all the time, TikTok is testing us. It's testing us. And we need to be consistent. We do post all of the clips on Instagram and TikTok. And sometimes on Facebook. Georgie hasn't kept up with the Twitter like he said he was.
I do sometimes.
He did like 2 tweets, I think.
I did a few, but it was decent. we're growing.
Anyways.
We got like 14 followers.
So, before we actually get started into the content, is there any shout-outs you guys want to give out to people? I want to give a shout-out to my boys from the PLP podcast. PLP, yeah, because it's Ponte las Pilas podcast. So, anyway, I watched their podcast. It's actually it's pretty funny. It's I don't know, maybe you probably wouldn't like it as much because you wouldn't understand all the like Hispanic references and stuff like that, maybe.
So you're saying Joe would?
Maybe Joe would.
Yeah.
But it's funny.
I'm
it's
more
really
cultured than you are, clearly, Georgie.
And it's not always. Anyway, shout out to the boys because they watch our podcast. I don't know if they watch our podcast. One of them watches our podcast. 1 or 2 of them probably watch our podcast.
They used to comment on Instagram.
They comment on our stuff,
They
but
probably still do.
Yeah. So shout out to them. Any shout outs?
Joe?
To mom and dad. Mom and dad. No, I have no other shout outs.
Joe's mom and dad.
I made it. I made it. Please be our 11th subscriber.
To the overlap, Gary Neville and Jimmy Carragher, my boys.
Because they're clearly watching our podcast right now.
They watch and comment sometimes. So.
I will. You know what? I'll shout out the CBS crew. TT, Kate Abdo. Oh, yeah.
All right. Shout out to Iker Casillas. Iker, if you're watching this, he's a big fan. Ronaldo. All right, let's get started. So what is on the agenda for today, boys? What is on the agenda? I forget. I'm the guy who does all the work, putting the agenda together as well. So let's start with the precap.
Yeah, well,
right. The precap.
It's your world, man.
It's my world. Precap, Champions League roundup, predictions. Now that we have the round of 16 teams, so we'll make some predictions of who we think might win it, who might get a little bit further than the others. We have a new segment. I'm going to call it the VAR room segment because VAR is typically what happens after the play. You go to the VAR room. So anything that we've missed across the world of football, in terms of like funny stories, interesting stories. Today we'll talk a little bit about a point deduction that happened in Wales.
I actually got one. I have one.
You have one?
Yeah. Well, the point deduction I sent, but I got another one from the Champions League.
Is it a conspiracy theory or a VAR room segment?
It's a VAR one.
Okay.
It's not even VAR. I'll explain it later.
Yeah. But that'll fit in that segment.
Yeah.
That'll fit in that segment. We have the wild card segment, which today the question is going to be best player ever to not win the Balon d'Or. All right. Conspiracy theories we typically have on here, but we're running out of conspiracy theories in my opinion. So if you guys have any good conspiracy theories, let me know.
Not at the moment.
So we might come up. We typically end up coming up with them as we go through the podcast.
Twitter? You're on Twitter often.
Yeah, I mean, there's, yeah.
I'm sure we'll come up with one. Laws of the Game, which happens to be the best segment so far on our channel in terms of the audience and the viewers commenting and things like that. They love those questions. So the Laws of the Game is a good segment. I'll try and stump you guys once again because I think we got to be pretty close to tied or I'm winning. Actually, you got the last one. You got the last one. The 6 second.
I think we might be tied.
I think you might be beating me actually.
There's no chance he doesn't answer anything.
I haven't
answered.
You are useless. Anyway.
Pretty much. I have the best takes.
Listen, I think Georgie just tries to be I think Georgie tries to be too careful.
You're useless, pretty much.
Wait. Please have the BS segment. Where's the BS segment?
We don't have a BS segment today.
Why don't we have a BS segment today?
I don't know.
Go, Javi, tell us.
Listen, here's the benefit of me being the one that edits the podcast.
You take all the dumb takes.
I take out all of the takes that I don't like about myself, and I leave all of the crappy takes that you guys have, so that I can put you guys on blast on social media. Make you guys look like the bad ones. Make me look like the smart one.
And somehow you still...
And somehow I still end up on the BS segment at the end of it. And then finally we have fun facts, which are just some interesting fun facts, which again, typically I've asked it in a question. It's almost like a trivia question that I ask it sometimes.
Yeah.
But it will be another trivia question today. Fun facts. Yeah. Which actually, you know what is
I like
funny?
the trivia. Trivia's fun. Maybe we should just turn this whole thing into trivia.
Maybe
Me versus Georgie.
Actually, the fun fact I don't think is trivia, but it's
I
close.
suck at trivia stuff. Like... I don't know.
So basically, we're looking for somebody to replace Georgie on this podcast because he brings absolutely nothing to the table.
I bring the best takes.
All right. Shall we start with the Champions League roundup so we can get that out of the way and get into the good stuff?
Yeah, let's do it.
So we have the 16 teams that have advanced into the round of 16 in the Champions League. They're divided into two pots, pot 1 and pot 2. Obviously, the pot 1 are the winners of their groups. Pot 2 is the runners-up. All right. So, how do you guys want to go about this? Because I don't think we need to talk about the games.
Pick a winner or what?
I mean, it's kind of hard because you don't know who's going to play who.
Yeah.
So let's divide it in half. So 4 from each pot who you think will advance into the next round. Now, obviously, we don't know who they're playing because the draw hasn't been announced yet. But just if you had to randomly guess based on the teams, if you had to pick 4 teams from each pot to advance, who would they be?
Let me.
So get on your cellular devices here.
I guess I'll start us off because I have it here.
Go ahead.
You said 4 teams from each pot that will advance?
Correct.
Bayern, City, Arsenal, and Madrid from pot 1.
So Barcelona, Dortmund.
Atletico and Real Sociedad would be eliminated.
Okay. Pot 2.
Pot 2, Inter, PSG, Napoli, and PSV will advance, I think, from pot 2.
Interesting. No RB Leipzig?
No, yeah, I was between PSV and RB Leipzig. I'm going with PSV just because of their domestic record. I think they're perfect so far through the season through, I forget how many games in they are, but haven't drawn or haven't lost.
You mean because of my boy Bakayaku or?
Yeah, just to prop you out
One
because
of
of
our guys
your
plays
boy.
Wait, who are you
Bakayaku.
talking about? PSV?
Yeah, that's
one of our
PSV.
boys. There's a Mexican playing for PSV as well.
Yeah, Lozano.
Is it Lozano?
He was here, yeah.
Yeah, Lozano, Dest, Bakayaku. They're good.
Nice.
They're good. So
What about you,
it
Georgie?
depends on the matchups, but yeah, that's who I'd pick.
The same. Same.
Same ones?
I mean,
So
it's
Bayern, Barca.
Bayern
No,
is
wait.
going to be there. Real Madrid you can't count them out. Man City defending their Champions League. Arsenal are looking one of the better teams in there. The only one I would say is probably Atletico Madrid, potentially. I would take Atletico over Barca. And then Inter, PSG, PSV. Napoli's getting better ever since they fired their coach. But if I had to pick another one instead of Napoli, it will be Porto.
Okay. I'm going to go with Bayern. I wonder what Bayern's record is in the Champions League in terms of what their success rate is in the round of 16. Because they got to be almost perfect in the last 10 years, probably. So I'm going to go with Bayern. That's an easy one. I'm going to say this is the year Arsenal... Well, I mean, it's been a long time since we've been
We're just so happy to
But I'm
be
saying
here.
this is a good year for Arsenal. This is a good year for Arsenal to advance. Like typically, if it's their first year in the Champions League, you're like not really sure kind of where they're going to be at. Teams like Newcastle and things like that. But I do think Arsenal have one of the best teams in the Champions League right now. So I'm going to say Bayern, Arsenal, Real, and Manchester City are going to be the 4 teams that advance. So I think that we all picked the same ones, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
After you gave me a dirty look.
After I gave him a dirty look. And then pot 2, I'm going to go with PSG because I think they're going to get pretty far.
Wait.
What?
Something's wrong with this.
Why?
Barcelona lost today. Porto won.
Yeah, but for whatever reason.
Porto's in first place.
Not according. This my boy Fabrizio Romano
I know.
posted.
That's what I'm looking at it right now. I went on the thing. I think it's wrong because I think Porto got
no,
first.
because you know why? I wonder if because so there's a couple rules.
Let me go on Fat Mob and check.
Hold on, there's a couple rules. One, you cannot play against anybody that you played in the group stages in the draw, and two, you cannot play against anybody from your league. So what the reason why that maybe happened was because if Barca would have been in pot 2,
Barca finished top, Porto finished second, but the first tiebreaker goes to who got the most amount of points between those two teams when they played head to head. And I think Barca beat Porto, and then they tied their second. So Barca would have gotten
you
more
just said
points.
Porto was top.
He thought Porto was top because they're tied in points and they're
Because
winning in goal differential.
Because
But
it
they
doesn't make
lost.
sense. Because Barca put on their starters the last like 20, 30 minutes trying to get a tie.
But you're looking at the table though.
No, I'm not looking at the
Yeah,
table.
I don't think Barca knew. I don't
you're
think
looking at the table.
No. I'm not
if
looking
Barca
at
did that, they just didn't understand the tiebreaker. Because the only reason why I know this is I looked into it because of the whole Newcastle Milan group.
Yeah.
That the first tiebreaker is whichever team took the most points of your two matches, head to head. That's the first tiebreaker before goal differential.
Because Barca started their B team. So then once they went down, they put in their actual players. Once they saw Porto,
Yeah, but I don't care, Georgie.
Oh, because
Yeah.
they
You have it here.
they wanted to win the group and they wanted to win.
the group.
You have
Yeah.
it here. Maybe they were just guaranteeing.
They still
that
lost
they
the
didn't
game
lose.
though, so that doesn't make sense.
Or they were trying to guarantee that they didn't lose.
Well, they did lose.
They did lose. That's
But
what
I'm saying, but they were trying to guarantee for whatever reason. I don't know. Is it goal differential?
No,
So that's not. I don't know.
I feel like
Who
I
knows?
was listening to it.
Who knows? Yeah.
I've explained it like 3 times.
Anyways, no, it's because I thought you were looking at the table and you saw
Oh,
that the table
no.
was
No,
different.
I was just looking at
No,
the-
okay.
the
So anyway,
thing.
but there is the 2 rules that I read. So you cannot be paired up against anybody from your country or from your league, and you can also not be paired up against somebody who you played in the group stages. So that kind of, I mean, if you were to do the math and go team by team, you could eliminate probably a lot of matchups already
I mean,
because all of the group winners could not be against the runners up.
Yeah, there's only a few players you can. Well,
And then
the crazy-
Real Sociedad. No, hold on.
look at pot 1. The crazy part is you notice of pot 1, number 1, 2 of the English teams didn't advance at all.
Newcastle and
Man United.
Man United.
All 4 Spanish teams not only advanced, they all won their group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that.
It's wild.
It's crazy because then you talk about how good the
Premier League
Premier League is, and
What's
clearly not.
the best league?
Oof, Joe wanted to add that to the wild card segment today. What is the best league in
What
the
is
world?
the best league?
You have an argument that is not as clear. As everyone,
Everyone's going to say the Premier League.
So if you said what is the best league in the world, everybody would go crazy if you didn't say the Premier League, right?
Yeah, you'd think. Most people, I would assume the vast majority of people say, "Oh, Premier League, yeah." But
You got some evidence. He's got some evidence. He's got a case.
La Liga.
He's got a case. But anyway, so those are the 2 things that you cannot. That way they can't be matched up. So you can eliminate a lot of the matchups right now just by looking at it. But anyway, how crazy would it be though? Bayern. Harry Kane goes to Bayern, and they're out of like 3 already, 2 or 3 tournaments, League Cups or whatever it is that they're in second place in the league to Xabi Alonso and Bayer Leverkusen, who are absolutely dominating. And in order to win the Bundesliga, you have to be, unless you're Bayern Munich, you have to be almost perfect.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of teams can do it for a while, but then, after the Christmas break or whatever, they end up, Bayern Munich ends up catching them, and that's how it is. They've won the last, how many years in a row has Bayern Munich won the Bundesliga? It's a lot.
It's like 7 or 8, I think.
So it's a lot. And the fact that poor Harry Kane made a decision that was like literally the one team that was probably guaranteed a trophy all year, besides Manchester City, which would have been crazy if he would have gone to Manchester City straight from Tottenham, and he doesn't win. The possibility of him not winning a trophy.
Yeah. He should have gone, I think, in the summer to Inter Miami just to get a quick trophy and then came back.
Well, I mean,
On a loan.
still so much to go, but Bayer Leverkusen are looking real good in
And
the Bundesliga. So
Bayern just lost, I think, didn't they? They just dropped points over the
they got
weekend.
absolutely destroyed.
It was like 5-1 or something, wasn't it?
5-1 to Frankfurt.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about it. I was messaging him. I was, ooh, Bayern are down. A good time to bet. And then
Nope.
5-1. I was like, God, thank God I didn't. But that's insane.
Manchester United also lost me $20.
You-
I had to come back against
Bayern?
who was it? No, in the Prem.
Oh, against Bournemouth.
Bournemouth. Oh my
At
god.
They
the
got
comeback. I was like,
spanked.
oh no,
Yeah.
but to be fair, when they went down 1-0 to Bournemouth,
Yeah.
they had so many chances that you're like, there's no way they don't score a goal within the next 5 minutes. So I was even waiting, and I waited until what, the 35th minute was it?
Yeah.
Or did I wait? I didn't wait till halftime, did I?
No, it wasn't halftime.
I waited till like the 35th minute because the odds were better, and I told George, it's like 20 on Man United comeback, and then
They got
Shambles.
Whole bunch
It
of
was a
nothing.
weird weekend though. If you think about like overall the leagues and stuff.
Yep.
Bayern Munich gets absolutely hammered. Man United at home
To Bournemouth.
to Bournemouth.
Aston Villa beat Arsenal.
Aston
Yeah.
Villa bit Arsenal. Man City lucked out. Away Lund. It's a hard game, I guess, because everybody's struggling there. But just I feel like there's one or two. Oh,
Liverpool barely won against Crystal Palace.
Liverpool barely won, but Girona destroyed Barca, 5-2,
Yeah.
or was it 5-2 or something like that? I
The
don't know.
Guardiola effect.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, that's
Pretty
why I was asking the Leicester thing, because Girona's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
They just got promoted and are top of.
Yeah, but
Or-
Girona just got relegated not too long ago. Girona's been in La Liga before.
yeah,
Recently.
they've been in
Recently.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's crazy that there's teams who
Right.
in my brain I think of like your Luton, your Burnley, these teams that instantly come up and then are competing at the top level.
Yeah.
It's
But
absolutely wild.
but they are owned 44 or whatever percent, or maybe majority, I don't even know the exact number, by Man City. So their funds and everything. Pep Guardiola's brother is the manager
Yeah,
or
but-
something or whatever. So like, and a lot of those players are like players, like high level players, like Stuani has played in World Cups and whatnot for Uruguay, and so I mean,
For me, it would make sense if they're buying really expensive players because they are owned by the
Yeah.
same ownership group. But I mean, their players aren't expensive.
no, they're not.
So it really has nothing to do with the fact that their ownership group is the same as Manchester City's ownership group. Because you could have gotten those players anyway, because they're cheap.
Yeah, but the whole structure and the wages, I don't know. Like,
But what does that have to do with anything? The quality of the players is all that matters when it comes to how much money you have.
I mean,
Because you buy the most expensive players.
yeah, I don't know.
So conspiracy theory.
no, I mean,
George's
no,
conspiracy theory is if Pep's brother's over there, that Pep's coming and running secret training sessions or something like that.
that's
Is that
not-
what you're saying?
No. But it's funny though. So the coach. So you have Pep Guardiola at Man City.
All right, hold
Who's
on.
the
First of
coach?
all, Georgie originally said it was his brother was the coach.
Yeah, that's right.
He did say that.
No,
I thought
he
he
told me
got
that
that from
before.
his Twitter.
He told
His
me that
Twitter.
before. He's like,
I
his
thought
brother's the
because I
coach.
looked it up. So that's what I was gonna say. So Pep, Man City coach, same last name Guardiola as the head coach at Girona, and then you have the manager.
It's not the same last name.
It's not.
No, it's a different.
thought
It's a
that-
completely
that's
different guy.
I thought that was the
No,
whole thing.
No, it's his brother who is the
chairman or something.
The chairman or something. Yeah,
Or
Pere Guardiola.
so there's
But
no
the head
there's
coach.
No,
The head coach is a different guy.
Oh,
Where
so
did you hear
no
this
relation.
from? I'm gonna look this up now.
no,
Look up
he's the
Pep's
chairman.
brother.
Pep's brother is definitely in
brother.
Girona for something.
Yeah, he's the chairman.
Yeah.
Or not sorry, I don't know if he's the chairman or whatever he is, but he's in management. He's not the coach or he's not
something
nothing on
just-
the field.
He's just like a agent or something. I don't even know.
Their coach's name is literally just Michel or Mikel. No,
I looked
last
him up.
name.
No.
I looked him up when you told me, and I was like, no, that's not true. But anyway, so Georgie has a conspiracy theory.
No, I don't have a what's the conspiracy.
That Pep
That's
is
what I'm
Pep
wondering.
is
Because you just said it.
taking over.
Why would it matter then if you didn't have to say it?
What do you
like,
mean?
why'd you say
Which
it?
part? Which part?
The fact that they're same ownership group as Manchester City.
No, because there's an influence to that. There's no way.
So there's a conspiracy here.
No, there's no conspiracy.
Just say the conspiracy, George. What is it?
There's no conspiracy. It's just there obviously something like
Sounds like a conspiracy.
no.
to me.
It's
What is happening?
like, it's a stat. I mean, it's not a stat. It's a fact. Like Man City owns Girona, like part ownership, whatever it is.
I know.
I'm sure there's an influence in that.
I think what Javi's asking is what
What does it have to do with it?
What is
Yeah.
the evidence?
I mean, it's the same thing as me asking if one of the best teams in the world comes and becomes part owner of Liquid Football. Are they not going to help?
Javi would think that hurt because
No. Well, I'm just thinking if we still had the same players.
Yeah, but they're going to bring in like experience
He's-
and bringing in like
culture,
like everything.
Yeah,
the winning
yes,
stuff always
players
helps.
matter, but I think are you saying that the atmosphere
I
of
mean-
the club, the expectations, how everyone carries themselves?
It's gonna like if they become majority owners now, you're gonna look at Girona as like you're not gonna be thinking about Girona is like, oh, let's stay in La Liga. You're going to be thinking of let's challenge top 4 or possibly win La Liga in the next
So
coming years.
clearly they're influencing some part of the structure and
100%.
the establishment and like maybe putting money into the infrastructure.
Yeah, I think it's 44%. I don't know. I don't know the exact number, but I
They're
remember
2
reading
points clear at the top.
So
That's
I wonder if
nuts.
I wonder if like little things that go unnoticed, right? Like they've improved the kitchen so that the nutrition
Yeah.
is better, or the training facilities are better. They've invested in like the strength and conditioning equipment, all that kind of stuff, right?
That makes sense.
And that makes
And
sense.
there's
'cause
some.
they have the money.
They have some decent players. It's not like they're just some random dudes. They're just like
Do you think they actually Girona has an actual chance? I don't watch La Liga, to be honest, very often.
they're playing some really good football. So yeah,
You think they have a chance?
Yeah,
I think any teams now that if you're towards the top of the table in any of the leagues right now,
Yeah,
like you have a chance because
this is around the time.
yeah, we're into it now.
Typically, there's like a stat before Arsenal screwed it up.
Bottled it last year.
It was like if you're at this point, you're ahead. Typically, you have a really good chance of winning the league, at least in the Premier League.
Yeah.
I did see a picture. Was like, how crazy would it be if Aston Villa, Girona, and Bayer Leverkusen won their leagues this year?
it would be amazing actually.
That would be amazing. It would be nuts. I wonder who has that
Oh man,
that
if you
prop
put
bet
them-
future out
If you
there.
put $5 on that, can you imagine the payout?
million. It would have to be $1 million.
I don't know.
Nobody's.
I just wonder
Because even the
Girona.
Leicester bet, I remember, because someone bet on Leicester to win the league when they did,
Yeah.
and I think the person ended up cashing out like with 3 or 4 games left or something. But
I would have cashed that too.
that was nuts.
I would have gone all the way.
Then they would have
baby.
had to do it in 3 different leagues. I don't even think anyone would have made that.
But
bet.
but Leicester, to be fair, Leicester won it before the last weekend. Leicester won
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Premier
Yeah.
League a couple weekends before, didn't they?
yeah,
Man, that was the year where everybody was complete shit,
yeah.
and they
It's-
were decent.
It is definitely good for football to have competitive leagues where it's
Yeah.
not the same team winning every
Yeah.
single time. It's better overall for everyone.
Well, that's what Pep is losing the plot at the moment. He's saying, "Oh, if Man City win it, we don't win anything really. Oh, they've been winning it; they've been the best team. But if we don't, and anybody else wins it, it's like they win the World Cup. It's the biggest thing in the world. So
Well, yeah, if you win something 5 or 6 times in a row,
100%. Yeah.
it's not the same feeling as winning it for the very first time. The achievement and the feeling that Leicester City got from winning the Premier League is definitely much better than Manchester City.
Oh, yeah.
Manchester City winning it for the 3rd year in a row or whatever it is.
It is. It does speak to like how crazy Pep must be, though, in terms of not crazy in a bad way, but crazy in terms of getting people and getting all of that whole club bought into. Here we go again. We're doing this whole thing again, and everyone's excited and ramped up for it.
That's what
like
you gotta
that.
keep
There's
buying.
an art and science for that, man. That's impressive.
I don't think I don't think it's possible to do with the same players.
No, yeah, you're right.
That's why he's really good at that, where he just refreshes. By the way, speaking of Man City, Calvin Phillips goal today.
Oh, he played. I saw that.
He's also. You said did you see what Pep came out and said about him? It was
No.
actually pretty. Let me see if I can find it.
Where he apologized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, about that, yeah.
yeah, about bringing him over and stuff. I thought that was pretty high class.
Well, he said
Wow.
he's done everything right. He's got the great attitude for what you're asking him to do. He's perfect. When I visualize things, I just don't see him.
Yeah,
That's a kind of a sneak diss. Though. You're like,
It is, right?
but
It's-
he's being as honest as you can about it.
Yeah.
Which, if he's being that honest to the press, I would assume he's being even more honest to his face about
where he stands.
where he stands. Which, as we talked about that as a player, that's one of the things. As much as it would suck,
yeah,
you at least want to know where you stand.
he needs to leave in January, but
He will.
So he must have told him already, hey, there's no plans for you here. You need to find a different option.
Yeah.
Because if he didn't, and then Calvin Phillips watches that interview where Pep's like, I'm sorry,
Oh,
I
that would be
visualize things
messed
and I
up.
just don't see him.
Yeah, I doubt that would happen.
That's
but you never know.
depressing, man.
Where do you think? Where do you think he goes?
A lot of teams will pick him up.
Yeah,
Why
he's
wouldn't
good.
you?
I will take him in Liverpool gladly.
I would
Yeah.
rate him based on where he was coming into Manchester City. Because
Yeah.
I just think that
You don't know now.
it's slightly unfair that he just hasn't gotten really the opportunity to get the minutes.
I like Kevin Phillips.
But it's not like he's been playing a lot and he's just gotten worse, and now it's like, okay, now he's on the descent. Now we can just pick him up, but we already know where he's at. Like, you rate him based on where he
Where he's
came
at.
into Manchester City.
He also plays with England still, so
and he was captain of Leeds. He played
He's good.
the 6, and he played as a center back for a lot of the time. So different positions, leader.
Biggest question mark is going to be his confidence. People are going to be like, "Where we're going to get him? Where's his confidence? Where's his mindset at right now?"
That's a good call.
Yeah. But it is crazy. So Pep typically, what they used to say about him was that he would do 3 years at places, right? Maximum 3 years, and then he'd move on. So he signed a long-term deal now in Manchester City, a few more years. So in total, he's been there now, like 4 or 5 years now?
No, he's more than that. It's like almost 10. He was there. I think he came in
Oh, no, it hasn't 10.
No, but at the end of his contract, it will be, is what I mean. I think he came in 2017.
Oh, at the end of his contract, yeah.
So,
because he's already 7 years in, I
Klopp
think.
is what, 8?
Sounds right.
He's 1 more year than Pep? Or, no.
I don't know. But either way, he's been there a lot longer than 3 years now, which is crazy because when you do, it's almost, if you haven't won it in those 5 or 6 years, you haven't won the Premier League or the Champions League, you're still pushing every single year to try and get better so that you can eventually win it. But when you have won the Premier League as many times as he has, and then you just won the treble, I'm not saying that it's impossible, but it is difficult, realistically, to find the motivation.
Yeah. Like, what do we go do now?
So, wait. If, let's say he's been there for 6 years, they've won the Premier League 4, because the first year he didn't win it. They got 4th. The first year he was there, they got 4th.
Somebody fact check us again.
I'm going right now.
And the reason why I know that, because that is the video I sent you about Mourinho.
Yeah, the first year he didn't do well because he didn't have the players and he didn't have his system set yet.
So I think he got 4th the first year. Then
2016 is when he started.
Yeah. So 7th year.
Yep.
Now.
So he's been there about 7 years now.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That's crazy.
So 4 Premier League titles in that? No, it has to be more.
It's more than that. It is
5.
5 and 7? There's only 2 years. No, I think it's got to be.
Because Liverpool won.
Didn't Chelsea win it?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Premier League in 2017, 18, 18, 19, 2021, 21, 22, 22, 23. He's won 5 times.
5 and 7. Because the first year he didn't, and then Liverpool. Those are the
Wow,
only
it's
two.
crazy.
That is crazy to think that if he wins this year, it's literally he would have won 6 out of 8.
And this year's more important
insane.
because now it's 3 in a row, right?
No, it would be
This is the
2021, 2020, 2020 to holy shit.
Liverpool won it in the COVID year, right?
Yeah.
So it would be in 2019, 2020 is when Liverpool won. So 2020 to 2021, 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24.
And it's never
4
been
years
done.
in a row.
Never been done. That's why the whole thing with Gary Neville and Carragher and Michael Richards happened because of.
It's crazy to be in a job like that under so much stress and so much pressure because, as we talked about it in the last podcast, Manchester City doesn't just have the pressure of winning the Premier League. They have the pressure of performing every single game. I mean, they have 3 or 4 bad games, and they have pressure that most teams don't have if they perform that badly for 3 or 4 games because it's Manchester City. Yeah. So to be able to do that over a 7-year period and still want to continue doing it, like you said, it's got to be refreshing players, having new players, but also just everything else too. Probably his staff as well. I would assume he's gone through a few different assistant coaches because one of them went to Inter Miami, I believe. Went to the MLS.
Did he?
Yeah.
And then Arteta, obviously.
And then Arteta left. And then I wonder if there's 1 or 2 other ones that have left as well. But it's crazy.
It's
a lot of pressure. All right. So we will recap the Premier League at the weekend. We'll do another podcast at the weekend. The Premier League coming up because it's already been a while since the last weekend. Talked a little bit about Champions League. The next one is the VAR room segment. So things that we've missed around the world of football. Who wants to? Does anybody have any background information on the president punching the referee?
No, I don't.
Who sent that?
I sent it. I have no idea. I just saw it and I was like, "What in the world is going on?"
So let me find it real quick because it was you guys sent us the link, right? Yeah. So it was in Turkey.
Yeah.
At the end of one of the matches in the Super League today, the I'm gonna murder this Ankaraguku president struck the referee in the face, resulting in a full-on brawl. So he straight up just walks over the referee at the end of.
He hit him hard
and straight up punches him.
And
and the referee's not flopping. Yeah. The referee goes down and tries to get back up kind of quickly because he's about to get stomped on by everyone.
His eye was so messed up.
I wonder what they're going to do.
Well, they suspended obviously all the games
I saw
for
that
the weekend.
There's got to be a serious punishment. But you know the funny thing is that last year, the president won the Fair Play Award. Isn't that funny? There's a post from December of 2022 for the Fair Play Award for the president.
Damn, so you blaming the refs? Is that what you're implying?
Clearly, there's a conspiracy that these refs are cheating in
my.
the Turkish league.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
I don't know what the context is of what happened in the game. I didn't watch the game. Obviously, we didn't watch the game. But there's definitely got to be some serious sanctions for any time you do something like that. Because the moment you don't punish that,
Oh, it's gonna start happening.
yeah.
Is it though? Like, I guess like you, in theory, you think, man, it's gonna start happening again. I can't believe, as a grown, like, why would you just go punch somebody?
Emotions.
Emotions, money, everything that's on the
I mean,
line.
I wonder if these guys have won a relegation battle or something. I don't know.
I don't know,
I
but
have no idea.
regardless, clearly,
That's
I mean,
crazy.
and first of all, the Turkish football. If you see the scenes in Turkey for matches, it's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
I have,
it's
yeah, it is.
It's crazy. So these guys, it's clearly they're as passionate as anybody else in the world. But yeah, there's a lot of money on the line. There's a lot of things at stake. You know, you don't think about that when you're just a fan watching the game, but when you're the president and your club,
Your whole life is built into the club and everything, and all the time spent.
yep, and your success is based on the results that you're getting on the field.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to be upset. And I wonder if the referee did something that
He did apologize after, so I
That's
don't know
weird.
what
So-
that's about.
I don't know if
Maybe
first
there's
of all,
something that there to that then if the ref apologized.
we should fact check to make sure that the referee apologized and Georgia didn't just
Didn't
read some
Georgia
comment.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
But I mean,
Georgia just takes everything off Twitter as fact.
and that's a huge problem within the game, especially here in the United States, is that there's a huge referee shortage because nobody wants to work games anymore because of the abuse that they get from literally
From me.
kids
Yeah, from George. Yeah, George.
from not just obviously parents. Parents are the big
Yeah.
one in youth sports here in the United States. Parents are one of the main reasons why the referees don't want to ref games anymore.
Yep.
Because of the abuse they're getting.
Yeah.
And when the parents are acting like that, then of course the kids are going to think it's okay to act like that. And I've seen videos of parents getting into fights for literally a kids game, like
Yeah.
a U12,
That's
U10,
crazy to me.
and they're getting in fights on the sideline.
Like-
I've coached in some games where it's never gotten to the point where I feel like the parents are about to get into a brawl, but definitely it's like
It's
we have to
gotten
go and
heated.
talk to the parents at halftime and say,
Yeah.
hey, you guys need to calm down because this is not okay. Do you remember the time that I had to yell and back off all of the fans at our game at Sporting Detroit? Oh, you weren't there. You had gotten a red card.
Sounds right.
Story time.
Wait, I got a record?
Was this
Yeah.
back when I was still playing with you guys?
No. This was
Was this are you
Sporting
talking about the final?
Yeah, Sporting Detroit. I
was this the final? Were you there
Versus Livonia.
versus Livonia City?
No, I was hurt. Remember? Wait.
That was the final of the
Indoor.
league. It was the League Cup final.
Indoor at Schoolcraft.
No, I missed that game
Okay, so let me tell you guys a quick story.
because I play on. It's funny. I play on Livonia City now, and Alex Dubets was the goalie I bet for Livonia City that day when you guys played him. He was,
Probably.
yeah, because you lost 1-0 or in overtime, right? 1-0.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So let me tell you guys the story real quick. So it's the League Cup final. We are a third division team playing against a top division team. The game is really intense. Georgie's the coach. I'm playing on the field. I'm the captain. Of course, just want to put
You
that
were the
out there.
captain, I think, because I was gone. I was injured.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
pretty sure.
right.
Pretty
That's
sure.
right. No, it's because Daryl was gone, and then
No, Daryl was
you were the
there.
next one.
Daryl was there because he texted me after we would have won. Blah blah blah. And he
So
got
anyway, so the game is really tight. It's getting intense, and there's a lot of people on the sideline. Surprisingly, we had a lot of support from both teams, but the refereeing was suspect that game. Definitely suspect. I wouldn't go. I'm never going to be the one to go as far as saying that there was clear corruption.
Wait.
I said there's been a few times.
Wait,
there's been
Is
very few times.
this conspiracy theory?
No. What I'm saying is that I don't think that there was a corruption. I think it was bad refereeing is all. I don't think that they were like, oh, the other team paid the referees
So
or
you're
anything
saying
like
the
that.
guy just complete shit.
I just think the
not
refereeing
even-
was bad. Yeah, the refereeing was bad, but it wasn't anything beyond that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Georgie gets a red card in that game because he couldn't control the bench.
That's by the way, that was the dumbest thing ever. I'm not gonna say who the sideline ref was.
I know
That's
who
my
it is.
boy.
It's your boy.
But the guy wanted to fight I think it was Ali on the bench or somebody.
The ref did?
Ahmed,
Yeah.
wasn't it Ahmed?
It might have been Ahmed. I don't know who it was.
So one of our guys on the bench was.
He wanted to fight him. He's like, "Oh, let's go in the parking lot right now," and I'm like separating them, trying to make sure the referee doesn't fight all the players while the game is going on. Maybe the player said something, whatever. Like I'm not really paying.
But as a
attention to
referee,
that.
as a referee, your response
you
should
don't know
never
if
be,
there's-
"Hey,
Did
let's
he-
go.
did he say that?
Let's go. Let's go
Yeah,
handle
he
this
said,
in
"Let's go in the
parking lot."
parking lot."
Okay, fair enough.
So I'm like separating them at this point. And then the referee just comes over and gives me a red card. It's towards the end of the
So
game.
our bench was going crazy because there's a lot of questionable refereeing decisions. Georgie's focused on the game. It is technically his job to control the bench.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's like if you're having a bad game and the bench is getting rowdy, like Georgie's not going to go over there and be like, "Hey guys, the referees are trying their best," right?
Give these bad referees a shot.
So basically, Georgie, they get frustrated with Georgie because the bench is going crazy, so they give Georgie a red card, so he has to leave. So now we're coachless.
But I'm walking
that's not going
across
to make
the field.
that's the other part of it. Like if you're actually thinking this through as a ref in a men's league game, if you want the bench controlled, the best way to do it is not give the coach a red card.
Well, the
That's-
center ref he lost the game, but like he never had control of the game because he's one of those referees where you can't talk to him and he gets very flustered if you
If you engage
approach
with him and then it
he's
just- the whole thing
like
goes
he gets
off the-
shaky.
yeah.
I think we know who he is.
Yeah, I know who he is. I still see him around, so we're not going to release any names or anything or any addresses. All right. Anyway,
Is he a bald dude?
No.
Okay.
But I heard bald dudes are the worst. by the way.
Oh, I
They
know.
are.
I know who you're talking
Just
about.
in general. I mean, just in general. But so Georgie's gotten a red card, and the game's going on. I think we're losing 1-0 at this point. But anyway, the fans are getting really upset at the referee's decisions to the point where when the game is over,
Oh man.
I am frustrated because I know what could happen with like some of these fans on the sidelines. And to me, it's like super disrespectful when a team has worked their asses off, tried as hard as they possibly could to try and win a game, and then the fans make the team and the club look really, really bad.
Because it's like we already lost the game, guys. Let us just lose and not lose and look like jerks.
Yeah,
in
so-
the process.
The part that scared me was really when the referee blew for the final whistle, the fans started creeping towards the referees. And they're like shouting at the referees. And I'm like pissed off because first of all, we just lost. The referees are getting to the point where I could tell that they're like, crap, what are we going to do right now? Georgie's still in the parking lot, by the way.
George's in the parking lot. Said he's in the group chat with all the fans. Get him, get him, get him.
I was outside the stadium in the little kitchen area, in the little hall by school craft.
Oh, you guys are in the dome inside?
Yeah, inside the dome. And as people were walking out, they came to shake my hand like, "Man, you did the right thing," blah, blah. Because when I walked off, I was like going to the fans, going crazy like
Anyway.
that, hyping everybody up.
That's not good.
That's the other part too, I guess, because you have no way of getting like you have to go out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
There's
make
only
you
one
leave.
exit.
They make
Yeah.
you leave.
Like you have to, and if they're all waiting there, you're
Yeah. And it's different because the funny thing is that the game started outside, but then
Yeah.
it started raining and then we moved it inside. So had it started outside, Georgie would have still been able to see everything that was going on because he could have just hung out in the parking lot and watched the game. But because it got moved inside, he had to actually leave the dome that we were playing in.
And couldn't
So
see
he didn't know
anything.
what was going on.
Yeah.
because before he could have just gone outside the fence.
So anyway, the final whistle blows, and I see our fans start like creeping towards the referees, like shouting crazy at them. And I'm starting to get like worried because I'm thinking like these guys are actually going to go and beat up the referees. And I had to pull like, you ever seen, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm not trying to make myself like seem amazing or anything like that. But have you ever seen like when, I don't know, like a mama chicken protects her eggs?
I was so excited to hear what you were gonna say. I'm like, what is he? He's
I just put the first animal. I just put the first animal.
Have you ever?
I put the first animal that came in my head. I probably should have said a
A
mama
mother
chicken.
chicken protecting her eggs? No, I have never seen
So-
what a mother chicken.
So okay, so
Ladies and gentlemen,
have you seen
it is clearly past Javi's
It's
bedtime.
clearly- anyway, but have you ever seen like when like a mother of the
Let him do
eggs
it
or the
again.
babies or whatever starts getting really defensive
Mama-
to anybody trying
Mama
to get
bear?
them close.
Yeah,
Mama
yeah.
dinosaur, all right? Mama dinosaur.
These guys
So
lost
I
it.
literally like got in front of the referees and like not just like, hey guys, calm down or anything like that. I yelled, like top of my lungs yelled. I was like, back the fuck up right now. Like literally like this. I'm not even joking. Just because I knew that situation was getting to the point where it could have been really, really bad for everyone. And what I said to calm it down was I was like, you guys are making us look real fucking bad right now, that all of these guys just worked their ass off and we tried as hard as we could to win the game. And now you guys are going to make us look like a shit club because of the way you guys are acting on the sidelines. And that's what I said. And so the referees are just kind of like still like not sure what's going to happen. But I think fortunately, because I said that, the people on the fans like calmed down. They were like, oh shit, yeah. And I don't think, and they were probably in their head like, oh, we were never gonna punch a referee. I think that they probably would have. That's what they were thinking. But like I had to be super aggressive in telling them that, because if I didn't, it would have gotten really, really bad. Yeah.
And then Javi got a red card for not being able to control the crowd, and then he got kicked out.
That's not true.
And then the club folded, I think.
Yeah,
and then the 4 weeks later. After that. But I think Marcel was there.
They did not go down as a shit club. Way to protect the brand.
I believe Marcel was there, and
his dad, everybody. There's a lot of people there.
Yeah, I just felt bad because it's like
I'm surprised that club didn't continue. We were good for we were being really
COVID
brand new.
COVID killed us. But but I did feel really, really bad because it wasn't just about like me or the team, but it was like I thought about Marcel, and I thought about like Marcel's such a good dude.
Yeah,
and he's tried and he put so much time into that club.
Yeah,
and there's like his wife Liz. And I just think about like those people that I felt like their name being tied to those fans and stuff, which are all people we know, to be honest, just would have made everyone look really, really bad. And so
was Marcel one of those people that wanted to fight though? Or?
I'm saying this about Marcel. Marcel was the one that I had to tell this to.
Dude, I still remember when we played the Force, because it was in the semifinal when we beat the Force. That game was awesome at Bishop Foley, and the amount of fans we had there for a men's league.
So that was a crazy.
That was another team. That was another team we played. That was the top division team.
I think we beat every single team on the way that was top.
Yeah, and the thing about that game,
dude, our team was
good that year.
We had like a bunch of random old people, and then a bunch of young, good fast players. Yeah,
it was a good mix. John Evans called me before that game, before the Force game. The day off. And he was just calling about some other stuff. But if you guys know John Evans, my boy's watching this. John Evans called me. He's like, oh, what do you think about, what do you think is going to happen at the game? Trying to get some information on our team, right? And I was straight up with him. I told him, I was like, John, look, we have some really young guys who will run as hard as they can for 90 minutes. Like we had like Wasim and Wissam and those guys. I was like, we're not the better team. I'll tell you that right now. Like they had experienced players who played for DCFC and things like that. I told them, I was like, if you guys don't take this game seriously,
we will beat you.
I didn't say we will beat you, but I was like, that's the only way that you guys are going to struggle in this game if you don't take it seriously, because you think that you're just going to be better than us. I was like, because these guys, they'll run forever. And you guys they were older, so they were passing the ball and moving the ball around. And then we ended up winning that game. And I did feel a little bit bad because I played for Force the year before. And then I moved to Sporting Detroit.
Traded, man.
And then when we won, I think like almost all the guys took their shirts off after the game. I took my shirt off and I was waving it on the full-time whistle against the club that I had just played for the year before.
Traded, man. But that was I think a bunch of DCFC guys came and watched.
Yeah, it was a good. And then Georgie, we put Georgie up on the shoulders. We started throwing him up in the air. It's like this man did nothing. This man did nothing.
What? My substitution in the last minute.
That is true.
Did you even make substitutions?
He put Ahmed.
He did put Ahmed on,
and Ahmed was the one that got the game winner off of whose assist?
Was that after because we had a penalty? Do you remember that?
Zach took it, right?
But then he saved it.
No, there was encroachment.
Oh, that's what it was. Encroachment. They took it again and scored.
No. He didn't take it to score.
No, he took.
The ref called the free kick because of encroachment, so they had it like a free kick.
Yeah. Yep.
Which I don't know if it was a proper application of the rule. I think it might be.
That's a good thing. That if who encroached though?
One of our players. So when we scored one of our players got into the box, and then
that's one rule. It barely gets called.
Wasn't that one of the ones we said that? What's one of the rules that never gets called?
Yeah,
that's the one I think one of us mentioned last time.
And a lot of people mentioned in the comment section too.
Because that never gets called.
It does if it's clear.
Yeah.
If it's clear.
There was a clear one I remember last week in the Premier League, and I'm like, this guy's standing next to the penalty taker, and they didn't call
What would you say, less than 50% of the time it gets called?
Yeah. I way less than that. I say less than 25% of the time it gets called. Because I think if you go play any penalty, it's on all of them.
For the most part, I mean, you see it.
You see like a leg or two in front, but if it's like really clear, then they'll typically call it, or not typically, but they'll call it more often, obviously. But I just don't know what the proper, and we were yelling at the referee because he was like, it's a free kick for the other team. And I was like, no, you just retake the penalty.
Yeah, I thought it was retake.
Yeah,
but
that's what I think too.
Somebody should fact check us. There's a referee account that people always tag. It's like refs need love too or something like that. And he goes in there and he like gives you the proper what the proper law is.
Everywhere on Twitter.
So I
days.
wonder if somebody can let us know what that is, because I'm not 100% sure either.
I have no idea.
I heard that that was the right decision.
But the rules could have changed.
Because they had,
5 years.
and I think it was because they had just changed then.
Oh, so
Because
that's
before it used to be a retake, and then I think eventually they changed it to just a free kick.
Nah, and then we were going off
Because
the
it's
other
like-
one, could be.
So
Question, because so in the Premier League, obviously VAR is supposed to be used if there was a clear goal scoring opportunity. Wouldn't encroachment on a penalty be a goal scoring
it is.
thing that could be VARable?
It is.
because it's
It's the same thing with a goalkeeper. They come on the
yeah
Yeah, and they can review it, right?
Yeah.
penalty.
I have never seen it reviewed though, but maybe I have. No, I don't think so. Not on VAR.
Yeah, I just haven't seen it before. But yeah, that was a crazy game. And Zach scored that sick free kick.
That was
That's
a
the
sick
one that
free kick.
he scored the sick free kick. They came back and I think we were up 1-0 at half, I think. Or
And then they
2-0,
scored 2 goals.
And then they tied us 2-2. They came back 2-2. And then we scored the game winner at the end. It wasn't in overtime though, right? It was regulation.
It was regulation.
Yeah, I think it was regulation.
Because it was getting close. I remember it was getting close to overtime. I thought for some reason the score was 3-2, but I think
They
you're
had some
right,
good
it was
players
2-1.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had some good
Good
players. They just I think they didn't take us serious at the beginning. I think once they got to halftime and they had one of those team talks of like, what the fuck are we doing? Sort it out. And then they went back out and they played better. But once they tied, I think they took the foot off the gas a little bit. And then whenever you leave a game like that close against a team that has people who will run and like run through a brick wall for each other,
Yeah.
you're playing it
with fire,
dangerously for sure.
We also, I feel like we were pretty good defensively. We didn't give up a ton of. I don't remember them having a ton of chances. I remember them having possession often, but couldn't get in between lines and break us down. I think probably great coaching from Georgie would be my guess.
Just
Or great-
That's
or
why
just-
we were throwing them up in the
Yeah.
air at the end of the game.
just natural things, you know.
Yeah.
But
Great
that was
job.
a good team. That was a good
That was a
team.
unique situation in my life because I played for Sporting Detroit where Georgie was the coach. So he coached me. At the same time, he was playing for Detroit City FC where I was coaching him.
And here we are now, and I'm
And here we
coaching
are
both
now.
of you.
Pretty much through life. Joe's coaching us through life.
There you go. Wait, I have a referee thing. It's not VAR. So today in the Champions League, it was Porto against Shakhtar, and so a player was supposedly in an offside position. The referee raised his flag. The sideline ref raised the flag. The center was about to blow the whistle, but last second didn't, and said play on. Porto player stopped. Shakhtar scored to equalize, and then Pepe from Porto were just like, "What?" Like he raised his flag, and then they went to VAR and they let
It wasn't
be.
offsides?
It wasn't offside, so they just let it be. That's weird. That's tough.
That's weird because the sideline ref technically messed up because they're supposed to keep the flag
Yeah.
down unless they're absolutely sure.
100. Yeah, exactly. And the guy was like a yard or two.
So the
Outside.
problem was that the center referee. So the center referee made the right decision.
Yes, the center referee
Because
made
he
the right
let it
decision.
play.
The problem is, as a player though, when you see the sideline raise the flag, you're like, all right, well,
You automatically assume it's offside.
yeah, because it's gonna get called.
Right.
And it's very weird because why would you, like, as a center ref, why would you not call that? It makes no sense to me.
However, the criticism that they're going to tell the players are
You get played to those,
play to the whistle.
but it was like, if I see a flag raised, automatically you just kind of you raise your hand
Right.
and you just kind of stop. But the center ref made the right decision, the sideline made the wrong decision, and the players made the wrong decision.
Right.
Overall. So it was like,
It's kind of
but
it's a fault on everyone for the most
Yeah.
part. But at the same time, as a player, you have to play until the whistle.
yeah,
It is
just
frustrating.
weird. I mean, I would have stopped.
And that's again another criticism with the offsides is the fact that they say that they shouldn't do that anymore because it can lead to some significant injuries because
Yeah.
typically there's a lot of 50-50 balls on the through balls that they don't put their flag up, that could end up in a goalkeeper collision with the field player.
Yeah.
So they're saying like you should call it every single time regardless. But then if they do start calling it and the guy's in a good position and he's not offsides, they're going to be upset because it was a goal scoring opportunity.
What I don't like about the offside now is if it's far away from the goal, like let's say halfway line, and the guy's sprinting like 40 yards, to just call it offside. Like if it's Spurs and Chelsea, where Spurs are literally playing a high line and the halfway line, that's different because then you have 40 yards of space. But if you're talking about like the guys going down the line and you have everybody tracking back, then it's like just call it. They go on for like a minute. It's like okay, then they call it. It just doesn't.
It's going to be one of those rules that until something happens with like a severe injury, they're not going to change the rule. Yeah, like one day it's going to be a clear offsides that they don't raise the flag for. The goalkeeper and the forward are going to clash. Somebody's going to get really badly hurt, and people are going to get all upset about it and make sure that there's a rule change.
Well, didn't Van Dijk get hurt when he tore his ACL? Was on a VAR. VAR like extension or a play on or something like that.
The referee didn't raise his flag, and they play for like 10 seconds, or whatever, and out.
Ruined your whole season.
Yeah, and then we had freaking 2 academy players play center backs.
Yeah. So yeah. Lots of refereeing talk today, and not just VAR, but in general. Yeah, I do think referees do need a little bit more support. Why don't you start? I think who was it that said something bad about women? It was a professional footballer said something bad about a woman referee, about a female referee, and his punishment was to referee like a women's game or something like that. It was something like that. But I do think they should probably put a little bit more emphasis on making sure ex-footballers don't just go into being a pundit, don't just go into being a manager, but some of them should go into being referees.
Yeah. Because no one wants to do that, though.
Yeah. I know nobody wants to do it, but it's like youth coaching. A lot of people don't want to coach at the youngest age groups, but that's where a huge part of their development is. So like there's some countries, I believe there's some countries in Europe, I don't know which ones, but I've heard that there's some countries in Europe that they force their like men's team coaches to pick up a team to do like 1 or 2 training sessions a week at the younger age groups.
Probably Iceland.
Yeah.
Iceland sounds
just to like consistently.
Just because that's where you
give that. Dude, you can make a ton of impact with the young kids.
A lot of people say that's where you can make the most impact.
And you keep the most people playing the sport. Just like we were just talking about, like what you were saying with the runners in Jamaica. Everyone that in Jamaica at some point runs track, so they always get all the talent. And you make sure that anyone who's good at soccer tries it, has a good coach. That if you're good at something and have a good coach, you'll probably stick with it all the way through.
And there's some new referees in the Premier League last weekend.
There are.
Good.
So
they should get some chances.
This might be our shot. This might be your shot. Have you been?
Give me the application. Tell me where the application is. I'll fill it out. I'll do it. Put me in a charity match. Oh, as a warm up, obviously.
No,
put me in a charity match.
Let's have Javi in the YouTube. You'll be the ref of the YouTube charity match.
If anybody knows any good leagues where Coach Javi can get some refereeing experience, let me know. I will gladly referee a Premier League match.
You say that now.
This is going to come back to haunt me at some point.
Oh, definitely.
But I do think that
You'll do great.
Ultimately, the sanctions need to be a lot higher for people who do bad things against referees. Agreed. Because that's messed up, man. Those are the one thing where you're always going to be wrong, whether you're right. You're always going to be wrong. But we're going to get to the point where people aren't going to want to. We're not going to have any referees. We have that problem now. Mm-hmm. Like I go to some youth games, there's just no referees. Yep. That games that have been scheduled months in advance, and the day of, they're like, "Sorry, we only have 1 or 2 referees today."
Yep,
that's messed up, man. That's messed up.
I just don't understand how you go trying to fight a referee. Like, there's one thing to be like talking to them, whatever, yelling, but whole different thing to go fight or punch or.
Yeah, it was another similar league where another president tried to get into the VAR room. Yeah. I don't know if it was during the game or after the game. I think it might have been during the game.
It was during the game because I think he took like the elevator down.
Corinthians, right? Corinthians and Sao Paulo or something.
Like smacking on the, like knocking on the, not knocking on the door, like.
Another reason why VAR shouldn't be in the building. It should be somewhere.
But that's the thing.
Remote and somewhere else.
But that's how it is now.
What?
VAR isn't in the building.
It is.
Not?
It's not.
Pretty sure it is.
In that stadium, it was.
Oh, in that stadium, maybe. But like in the Premier League, it's not.
You sure?
Somebody should fact check us.
I don't think it.
I think it is.
You only see the you don't see the. There's no.
It's like whenever they show it, it seems like a small closet, and they've got like some random TVs, just like.
I would
Yeah.
assume it's in the building.
I
Put
don't
up
think it's
there.
in the building.
But,
I would assume it's in the building because that's probably where they could get the fastest feedback.
Yeah.
Because if it's not in the building, they're getting a delay. It's got to be in the building.
Well, no, because that NFL doesn't do it in the building.
the NFL does. NHL doesn't. NHL does it in. They do all of their reviews in Toronto. I shouldn't say they do all of them. They have like a headquarters in Toronto where they have reviews going all of the time. That they're like constantly monitoring all the games, because the difference with the NHL, like their games are played every single day almost, but at the same time, so they're watching multiple games.
Yeah, but also
they also have a live thing for the refs at the stadium, so they'll be talking to the people in Toronto while looking at the camera. Mm-hmm. But the people that they're talking
what do they say
to are
when they
always the
say,
camera.
"Oh, we're going to New York"? Is that NFL?
That's the NFL, but that's where they'll go to. Like they have, like Fox has one on air ex official normally. That's in their New York news studio.
yeah.
It's not like Toronto where it's like, hey, we're going to Toronto for the replay booth,
But the difference-
NHL replay booth.
The difference as well is in those sports, they can go to commercial break,
Yeah.
right? So during some of these reviews, it's like a stoppage anyway. So they just do commercial breaks or whatever, and they can break down the play. Whereas in soccer, football, you have to have it immediately after because there's no commercial break. There's no delay of the game.
Is that the
It's gotta be-
conspiracy theory here then?
What is?
VAR was instituted so you can make commercials happen in soccer.
Joe's got a conspiracy,
Dun,
ladies
dun,
and gentlemen.
dun,
The Premier League, IMG Studios, home of the Premier League productions, and the VAR Hub are at Stockley Park in London.
So they have a VAR hub. They just have different people working it every day.
Yeah. Interesting.
Interesting.
But I guarantee every league is different.
Did you hear the
So-
conspiracy theory?
No, it was a.
So the conspiracy theory is, because Javi brought up a great point, when these other sports, NHL, NFL, they can do these reviews during a commercial break. My conspiracy theory is it set up, and the reason why VAR is instituted,
to have those
to add in commercial breaks?
I wouldn't doubt that. That's a good one.
That's something that we're not far off from. Think about it. I think in 5 years, they're going to be going to it. Like they do it in the Mexican League now, and it pisses me off because they do it in the middle of the game.
That's
like you'll be
insane.
watching the game, and they'll do like
Yeah,
a
I
picture in
remember
picture of a tiny
like
little
the
picture of the
PGA
game
does,
play.
like the playthrough.
And then it's like they just put a huge commercial while the game is going on.
And they switch to the audio of the commercial, and you just have the small visual of the game. Like it's not even like they put the audio of just the commercial and keep the big visual of the game.
Yep.
It's a tiny visual of the game.
So I wonder if in a couple years they're just going to start putting commercials during the VAR breaks.
I mean,
I'm surprised they haven't.
Yeah,
Crap ton of money.
They will now that we brought it up. So many people watch this podcast.
Clearly, crap ton of money.
yeah, make extra money.
That really upset me.
Maybe that's what we should ask for our sponsor, the VAR commercial spot. Just give us 1% of the lifetime revenue of that
Yeah, you
That really bothered me
commercial
when I was,
spot we just created for you.
when I was young. I used to be able to watch wrestling with no commercial breaks. Now, in the middle of a match, they go to commercials. Like somebody gets thrown off the top rope or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, and we'll be right back."
Do you still watch wrestling?
No, but
Oh.
towards the end of my watching it, they started going into commercials. So then they go to commercials for a minute, and they come back in the middle of the match. And I was like,
What I miss?
"What are you doing?" These
I hate
matches don't last
commercials.
very long either. So like, I don't know. Anyway,
I'm with you on that. I hate commercials.
I hate
bring back wrestling. Make
That's the
wrestling
thing.
great again.
You didn't. We just had WrestleMania or SummerSlam. One or the other was just at Ford Field. A bunch of my coworkers went. They said it was freaking awesome.
It is. Have you ever been to a live event?
No, WrestleMania was just here with Logan Paul
I've
and
been-
everything.
yeah,
I did. I watched the TNA. I watched like the WrestleMania version of TNA Impact, and it was amazing.
Live.
Live. Like we were in the stands, and they ended up wrestling all the way into our stands, like right where we were. I watched my childhood. I dressed up as Sting for like 3 years in a row for Halloween. Like it was like just became a tradition. It's like, oh, we're gonna just paint our faces like Sting. And then Sting ended up when he got old. You know, these guys wrestle until they're 85 years old.
Yeah.
He went to TNA Impact, and in the main event, it was him versus Samoa Joe, which was like their main guy of TNA Impact. And me and my brother went, and we watched it live. And I'll tell you what, wrestling, you can say whatever you want about the whole scripted and the fake part about it, but the actual impact of the hitting, the throwing,
yeah.
all of that is real.
Yeah.
And these guys are legitimate athletes. Like, you don't realize how high they're jumping when there's like a cage match. On TV, it doesn't look that crazy. But when you watch it live and you see these guys jumping off of cages,
Yeah, and you hear
it,
You're like, wow.
and you're like, that's impressive. Like these ropes aren't as thick as you think they are. So when they're like balancing on these ropes about to jump, I wouldn't be able to do it for real, for like not even close. But you watch these guys and they're doing front flips off of these things.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
What's my girl Tori Wilson doing? Is she still in there or what?
Tori, I don't. Who's Tori Wilson? I remember Pamela Anderson. I remember Lita.
What?
Not Pamela Anderson. Is it
Pamela Anderson?
Trish Stratus? Sorry, Trish Stratus. But if,
This man's
I would have watched wrestling
close.
if Pamela Anderson was in there as well. Anyway, Trish Stratus.
Tori Wilson. She was there. Stacy, you remember Stacy Kibler or whatever?
Yeah, I remember Stacy, but
Yeah.
she was like she was like slightly after like Lita. Lita was like.
Was
China.
Lita the one with the
China? You remember China?
I do.
Jacked
Dude,
China?
China.
Was Lita the one with
Lita
Jeff
was the
and
redhead.
Yeah.
Jeff Hardy and
Yeah.
what was the other
And then
Hardy's name? Matt Hardy.
Matt Hardy.
Hardy.
And at one point she was with Kane. They did
And
like
Edge.
the whole thing with Kane and Edge, which actually crazy story from what I was reading the other day. That she cheated on Matt Hardy with Edge in real life. Like her and Matt Hardy were together, and she cheated on him with Edge. It was that or the other way around, but I believe it was
Freaking
that.
nuts.
And that was real life.
Well, these guys. I listened to a few podcasts.
should
I was
look that
listening
up
to one with
before.
The Rock and one with Kurt Angle the other day, and they just are. They talk about like how much they wrestle. They would wrestle for like 250 to like 300 days a year,
It's insane.
and that's just like wrestling days, not including the travel time and stuff. Freaking nuts.
Yeah.
insane.
Have you watched the podcast with Kurt Angle and Joe Rogan?
That's one of
That's
the.
the one you're talking.
The Rock was just recently on there too.
I haven't seen the Rock one, but I
Pretty
saw
good.
the.
They talked about it. It's Kurt Angle's a crazy man.
Yeah.
Been through some stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch some of those. Listen to like how messed up their bodies are nowadays because of all the. There was like
they
Kurt
put
Angle
it
was
through.
talking about. Kurt Angle was talking about how he was literally unconscious during. So it was supposed to be one where supposedly they knock him out and he's like unconscious and they bring the hospital bed or whatever and they wheel him out to the back and then he supposedly gets up and he like fights on and he goes back in. That was supposed to be the storyline. And the way that they hit him, they messed up and they actually knocked him out. And so he was actually unconscious. And
As
so
they
he was
went through the
completely
whole
out of it.
thing?
Yeah. And then they wheeled him in the back and he said he remembers like not even really coming to, but just kind of like being like, what's going on? And so they're like, what are you doing? Like, let's go. You got to go back out there. This is the moment. And he said that they ended up dragging him out there. And so Joe Rogan's like asked him like, well, how can you actually finish a match? And he says that wrestlers have a really good skill of knowing when another wrestler is either injured or for whatever reason can't continue, and they carry you through the performance. So he said that like he's like I really don't remember much other than they just carried me through the
Like
performance.
I leaned on them because you can do like where they're leaning on each other. Look like they're grappling.
Yeah.
They talk
So-
to each other, throw a
insane.
punch or two.
Yeah.
It is insane.
Look at that. We just turned this Next Go Wins podcast into the next choke slam or the next the next rock bottom
I was
wins.
wondering where you're gonna go with that after the mother hen.
That was a great take, by the way. All right, so
my
let's
gosh.
continue on. Let's continue on with the VAR room segment. We got one more, which is a team in the Cymru Premier Division in Wales. All right, so this team is called Pontypridd United. I believe that's the proper enunciation.
Great name.
Pontypridd United has a. Hold on, let me see what the point deduction was. Georgia, do you remember what the official point deduction was?
Wasn't it 141 points? Or
141 point deduction.
What was it for again? Because
All sorts of stuff. All sorts of stuff. So they got. So I'll read it to you right now. The FA of Wales investigated them and found them guilty on 18 charges. All right, which includes not paying players, breaching player contracts, failing to register players correctly with the FAW, and fielding ineligible players. So basically, whoever's in charge of Pontypridd United
didn't follow any of the rules.
has like definitely lied on the resume. Definitely. Pontypridd United denied all charges.
Oh my god!
They got a 6-point deduction with immediate effect. And this is kind of weird because they said a further 135-point penalty is suspended, but will be imposed if they field any ineligible players before the end of the 2024-2025 season.
So what does that mean?
So that means like as long as they follow the rules, they won't get the punishment or they will get the
I
punishment.
think it means like if they add any moving forward, if they do it one more time, it automatically hits them.
Yeah.
But
That's
I would
crazy,
assume if they
though.
fielded,
But they were found guilty.
if they fielded ineligible players a week ago or 2 weeks ago,
Yeah, so
it's probably not 1 or 2, right?
this is across the 2022 to 2023 and 2023 to 24 seasons that all of this was happening.
Yeah, so still.
But how do you? I don't understand. How do you go from 141 points
So
to
just 6. They must have just been charging him for the last
Yeah, they
2 offenses or whatever that were clear.
That's
They also added a 2-window transfer ban,
What?
meaning the club can't sign any players until January 2025.
And they're one of the worst teams, aren't they?
That's what I was gonna say. So that's the funny part. So they got 6 points deducted right now. There's 12 teams in this Premier League, right? There's 12 teams. Right now they sit in 12th in last place because of the point deduction. After 18 games, so this is not like 3 games.
Yeah.
This is after 18 games.
They're gonna go down anyway.
They got 6 points and they're in last place. Had they not had that point deduction, they'd be in 11th out of 12th place. So there'd only be one more spot. And then I looked at the 2022-2023 season as well, and they had it like broken down. I don't know if it's different or if they changed it, but they have like a championship group, relegation group, the Premier League. And in the Premier League, they were in 11th of 12th or 12th spot.
So they're cheating and still doing terrible.
Yeah. I want to see
Legit.
their general manager's resume. This guy played 1 season of Football Manager and then
that's the way
applied
to
for the
go.
job and got it. So
That's crazy. Man.
so that's by far the biggest deduction in history as of right now.
I would assume that they can't. They'll have to stop being a club because they can't transfer in any players. I guess
Well,
you
for
could
2
sign
windows.
players for free, right?
For 2 windows, though. 2 windows.
2
is
windows.
nothing.
Well,
Well,
you'll keep
I
your
know, but
roster.
what I'm saying is, well, who knows what roster they actually have because they were clearly putting ineligible people on it.
Yeah.
So the roster that they did have, let's say 10% of those people can't play.
Hold on, what
If
team
you're
name?
on that
let me
team-
apply real quick.
Georgie's looking for a club, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
if you're on that team, you might be like, well, I'm going to go find a new club.
Oh yeah, they'll lose players, right?
Yeah, if anything, you're going to lose players and you can't replace anybody.
I mean, anybody will do anything for money. So if you're a free agent, like you would go.
So we'll be looking for a new podcast host. Georgie's moving to Wales.
Yep.
I'm going to Wales, baby.
And then the closest deductions that I found elsewhere were in Italy, were like 30 points for
Yeah.
some of the other teams.
The corruption.
The corruption.
Corruption's everywhere.
So
Yes.
that's the.
Man City.
Oh, in Manchester City, how many points are they facing? They haven't set up
No,
points. They
but
just charges.
Don't
The amount of
worry.
charges.
They're about to match the charges per points
Yeah.
with this team. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
So that's it for the VAR room segment. But I like that segment. It's just
That's good.
random news happening around the world. The next one is the wild card. The wild card segment for today is the best player ever to not win the Balon d'Or. Boom.
This was an easy one for me.
Yeah, same every time.
Hold on. Are you guys? Let me guess. It's going to be during the Ronaldo and Messi dominance, probably, right?
No, mine's before.
Really? Okay. I know who you're going to say. I already know. Arsenal legend.
Oh,
Arsenal legend.
Yeah.
TT.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
TT.
Yeah.
Of course you were.
Okay.
You're taking all. You have all these takes. You're just taking mine.
No.
All right,
too-
so say it again so we can clip it for the TikTok.
Do you want to ask the question again?
No, you could just state it in the question in the answer.
The best player to not win the Ballon d'Or. TT. Thierry Henry.
I mean, he's won everything else. And
Yeah.
the funny thing about that is, did you guys watch the show today? They gifted him a Ballon d'Or. Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
did they?
what the Christmas? Because
Micah Richards.
Michael Richards was the Santa Claus for the segment.
Oh, and he was messing around and he
Yeah,
gave him a Ballon d'Or.
And then Thierry was like, 20 years late, man. I've been writing this, asking Santa for this present for 20 years.
That was during his best season would have been, I think it was 2003.
Like, if he would have won the World Cup in 2002, then 2003 would have probably been a lot easier.
It's just hard because not only do you have to have your perfect year, you have to have a perfect year in a year where nobody else has a perfect year. And typically there's always somebody else.
Yeah.
Because this is why we're having this conversation, because there's probably a lot of people that could have won the Ballon d'Or had this person not had an amazing year. All right, so Joe says Thierry Henry. Georgie?
Thierry Henry.
Really?
Yeah, no, that was going to be mine.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Not your boy?
Which one?
Salah.
Nah, I don't think Salah was. Mo Salah was the.
I would argue Van Dijk
That's
That's
fair.
a good one as well.
in the Champions League when Liverpool
won it?
challenging.
Messi.
Messi.
But
And that was still when Messi was at Barcelona. They didn't win anything though then. That's weird.
I'm going to say, just to be different, because I would have said Thierry Henry as well. But just to be different, I'm going to say Lewandowski. The year that he got it taken away, COVID.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
kind of shitty
That
because he
is-
was the clear winner.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't anybody really that you're like, oh, it could have been him. It could have been like everyone is at that point. You got to say, just give him the Balon d'Or
He won, yeah.
because it's kind of unfair that now he has to have another perfect season, another really good season in order to win it, and he didn't end up.
And he never
doing
will. He won't.
So like,
No,
and I think everybody would have appreciated the fact that even though the year was cut a little bit short, he was the clear winner of the Balon d'Or
Yeah.
up to that point.
They
so
should.
What do you guys? So that if you think about it, so 2021 Messi won. We can argue that Lewandowski should have won. This past year, Messi won. A lot of people argue that Haaland should have won.
Yeah.
yeah, but
I think Ballon d'Or is losing its credibility at this point.
Yeah.
well, they started. So people got upset, and then UEFA got upset. So then UEFA started doing
Their own thing.
their own thing, but they're not doing that anymore. Do you know that?
No, I honestly
They're going back to the Ballon d'Or.
I honestly stopped
I
caring
could be
about
wrong.
it,
I don't
like,
fact check any of
if
these
you-
things, but I swear I read it somewhere.
Like I stopped caring about it back when like it was like Ronaldo and Messi, Real Madrid, Barca days. After that, like when there was like Mourinho days, Pep Guardiola, Barca, like that's when the Ballon d'Or I felt like meant a lot more. And prior to that, but now it's like
It's lost it.
I wonder if any of the Ballon d'Ors that Messi and Ronaldo won really deserved to be given to somebody else, but they were also given to them based on what they had done for the years
Yeah.
previous as well.
Yeah.
and because they both just kept winning. Like it's pretty much whoever won. If somebody won the Champions League and the Liga at the same time, they're gonna give it to one of them.
I'm looking back on like who won, and the year you're talking about, I feel like when Henry should have won, Pavel Nedved won.
Yeah, so Nedved was the one that finished in scoring higher than Thierry Henry.
Nedved's
But that would have been in Italy, right? Because he was playing in Italy.
So it must have been.
Yeah, he was playing
So
for
then it must have
Juventus.
not been in the Premier League. It must have been
Yeah.
the amount
Yeah,
of
he was
goals in the Golden Boot or whatever.
The crazy part is he was playing for Juventus, and that was the year that Arsenal went to the Champions League final. Right? 2003?
I have no idea.
When we lost to Barca. What such a sad day. Pretty sure that was 2003.
I don't remember. But so quick segment, but okay.
Who'd you
Thierry-
say?
Lewandowski
Oh, yeah.
during the COVID year.
I'm gonna stay with my boy Van Dijk.
Van Dijk's a good one too
That was
because
a good one. That's fair.
You know what I'm gonna say? Van Dijk is the best center back in the history of the Premier League.
Wow. Okay. Arsenal did not make the Champions League final until 2006.
Yeah, it sounds like makes sense.
In Premier League history.
Premier League history. I would even. I mean, it's. I hate saying all time because
Hard to compare.
generation is whatever, but Premier League history. Yeah.
I think you can make the argument for sure. I think there's always going to be the people who are like, oh, Vidic
That's what I
and
was gonna say,
Ferdinand and all those
Vidic.
guys. But yeah, that's a good one.
I think Vidic was on a better team, but they consistently won, and you don't. That would be the biggest change.
Well, the
Or biggest
crazy
difference, I'd
stat,
say.
the crazy stat that I remember was throughout the whole year or most of the year, nobody had dribbled past Van Dijk.
Until we got Nicola Pepe, and then he did his first
And now-
start against Van Dijk.
But that's
is true, I remember
that's a weird stat because what do you consider dribbling by? Like
And there was a couple clips that people showed that I was like, that should have been one that
Yeah.
should have counted. It was like a clear.
but right
one.
now he's getting back to his best again.
Everyone talks about how good he is in terms of he has everything. They're like, he's tall. He's really big. He's really tall.
He's huge.
He's good in the air, obviously. He's fast. He's strong. He's smart. There's like no real weakness to his game.
Yeah. And also, it made me really upset last weekend, Premier League. The commentator was it was a counter, and you know how obviously Van Dijk is the left center back, and I think it might have been Kensa against Crystal Palace or somebody, whoever it was. So this other center back was out of position. It was a counterattack pretty much, and Van Dijk had a guy behind him making a run, and then a player dribbling at him, about to shoot. So Van Dijk stood his ground, and the commentator's like, "You need to move. You need to step in front so he doesn't shoot him on Allison wide open." Last second, Van Dijk cut off the angle for the pass, stepped in front, blocked it, And they commented like, "That's terrible defending. He shouldn't be doing this. He's being too lazy and whatever." We're very, very critical. It went viral for that. And I'm thinking like,
it went viral because people tore up the commentator.
Yeah,
in the,
Of like
in the
what
comments.
he clearly shut down a 2-on-1.
he clearly shut
waited
down a
until the
2-on.
last moment.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking like, how can you argue that? Like he literally did. Like the shot didn't go anywhere. He blocked the pass because if you step in too early, he plays the pass and then there's no catching that guy. So it was very like, how is this such a weird like thing to pick on, especially on a counterattack? So
Yeah.
it's
That made
crazy.
me think of story time,
I like it.
because I remember growing up playing, obviously growing up in Michigan. Yeah, I've had great coaches and a lot of people have helped me along my career. However, very few times you come in contact with people who've played either in World Cups or at crazy high levels. And as a young kid, at least for me, I always thought like, man, there's a right way to do this and a wrong way to do it. Like right way to do this, wrong way to do it. And I learned something, because in that, the way I think of it is like, at the end of the day, did they score yes or no? They didn't. You made the right decision. We move on. You got the result that you want. Keep playing. However, I didn't always think that way. And I think back, so Cess Pod, he used to play for Bradford City. He came and coached I went to the Oakland University camp, and he was there coaching. And I did something, I remember. I forget what the thing was. I either should have dribbled when I passed, or I should have done the opposite in his brain. But our team ended up scoring after the play. And he called me over, and he said, I was going to tell you this. You did this when you should have done that. However, your team scored, so you were right. Keep going. And like this, you ever have those moments in like when, and it just kind of clicks in your head and you're like, wait a minute. Because I've been playing for a long time, and I've had coaches when our team does something and I contribute to it, and like, you should have done this other thing. It's like, what are you talking about? We scored. Who cares? Like, let's keep it moving. And it was cool to see someone who's played at the highest level. I remember he told a story like going to Old Trafford, standing in the tunnel and hearing how loud it is. Your knees buckle and there's like a weight to it, and you're like, holy, this is real. Having somebody who's played at that level and give that type of advice, I was like, there's a different way, I think, to look at the game, and there's so many levels to it that I could only imagine having a coach like Pep or Xabi Alonso or Klopp or any of these guys, and like what value they bring on big scale, but also just random small nuggets of just absolute gold.
Yeah.
Crazy.
There's a really cool video that just came out. Puma released it, where they had Pep Guardiola sit in a room with Magnus Carlsen. Do you guys know who Magnus Carlsen is? He's the world's greatest chess player. He's still young.
Yeah,
he's still young.
okay.
He's Norwegian. I believe he's Norwegian.
I heard he's like unbelievably good.
Oh,
Like so
he's-
much like that it's not even close to anyone else, and he's
won multiple world championships. He's probably like early 30s, to be honest. So he's not like this old guy. And he is what people say is literally like Messi of chess. All right, now people might tear me up in the comment section for saying this because it might not be true, but I believe I don't watch his chess matches, but I've heard about him. I've watched some videos on YouTube about him. Like I've read some books where they mention his name a lot in some of these, like in the Pep Guardiola book, they mention his name a lot. And they put him in a room together and they had them analyze some of the Manchester City plays and also some of the chess plays. And they talked about it. And obviously, Pep's a huge fan of him because Pep played chess when he was younger. So he is like the Pep of chess. And so Magnus Carlsen also really likes watching Manchester City and watching Pep. So they talked a little bit. It was only like 11-minute video. They should have done a longer one, to be honest, which I'm guessing just probably because of time constraints. Like Pep doesn't have the time to sit there for an hour podcast or whatever. But they had him in there, and it was kind of cool because he talked about a lot of the similarities between chess and football, and how even Magnus Carlsen was talking like Pep. He was like, well, you try to overload the opponent on one side. Once you drag them over to the one side, you attack the weak side. You try and control the middle. The game's all about controlling the middle. If you can control the middle, you typically control some of the other parts. Talked about like counterattacks in chess, all sorts of stuff like that. It's a good video to watch. Good video to watch. You can tell they're both. You could tell they're both very excited about sitting in the room next to each other.
That'd be
And I
interesting.
guarantee after that video was filmed, they probably went out to lunch or had coffee or something after that.
and play
And
chess.
played a
played
game of
chess.
chess.
This guy's legit. This guy's like
I've heard his name before. So
Magnus
I would
Carlsen.
assume
He's legit. Like he.
Are you guys good at chess?
No,
I haven't played in like 15 years.
I'll tell you what. A little quick story on that. I used to live in a house with a guy who was playing in DCFC named Cody. So me and Cody, we lived in the house together for the summer. So he's like, what do you do to kill time? So we would go down to Campus Martius, and he liked playing chess, kind of, but he was like starting to get into it.
Like people that do that there.
And I was like, I'll learn how to play chess, right? So we bought a little chess set with very little experience. Bought a little chess set. And we took it down to the park and we would play. And I remember you know how there's like those chess hustlers like at these parks and they go sit down and play chess and stuff. This guy comes up to our table and he like looks at me and Cody. Me and Cody have never like we played maybe once or twice, but not really. We're trying to learn the game and stuff. And the guy looks at our table, and then he just walks away. And in my head, I'm like, man, was he analyzing my moves or whatever? And then a few minutes later, me and Cody can't figure out why can't my piece move here? And why is my piece, because there's light squares and dark squares, right? Mm-hmm. At the end of it, after like 5-10 minutes, we figured that we set up the chess table wrong. And we had pieces in the wrong spots. So this guy must have came over to our table and looked at us and been like, these idiots can't even set up the damn chess table correctly.
No chance they're going to bet me anything. No money here, and kept it moving.
It wasn't even worth scamming us to try and get some money because we didn't even know how to set up the table.
He probably could have charged you for lessons.
So
That's funny.
They had to like board up. Would you have like?
Yeah, how do you?
It's a square. How do you have it wrong?
Because there's certain pieces that go like it's
you
an
just
order of the pieces, right? Like you
line
can't
the play.
start the king in a different piece in a different slot. So we just had we had the rooks or whatever they're called or the knight in a different spot than it was supposed to be in. Because only some of them can only go diagonal, some of them can go straight or sideways, and it just didn't make sense. So we had to like Google it, and when we realized it, I was like, we probably look so stupid right now.
Yeah, I would assume so. That's actually really funny. Well, I can clearly tell I'm better at chess than you.
Oh, definitely. Because you know how to set up the table.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it falls apart after that.
All right. Well, we're an hour and a half in, so we should probably start getting into the laws of the game.
Holy shit!
And the fun facts, and we'll finish it off there. So, laws of the game. There's 4 situations in which VAR can be used. Can you name all 4 situations?
Wait. The VAR can be used?
Yeah.
Do we want to like each shout them out?
You guys can. I mean, you guys are working together here.
Working together. It's us versus the house. Okay.
If you are watching this on TikTok or even on the YouTube channel or anywhere, make sure you guys pause this video. Is what we do. We tell them pause the video, see if you can go in the comment section and write down all 4 of these situations, and then restart the video or unpause the video to see if you got them all right.
So okay, if let's say we say offside, obviously, you go to VAR, but then they score a goal.
So it would be like scoring a goal, blatant.
So let me
violent conduct.
Let me read the official paragraph so you guys know. A video assistant referee is a match official with independent access to match footage who may assist the referee only in the event of a clear and obvious error or serious missed incident in relation to A, B, C, and D.
Offside, a red card, penalty. And what was the 4th one?
Goal.
A goal is they had to watch. But that's what I mean. A goal, technically, it is, but due to an offside or a foul.
Are you going to tell us like, as we get?
Okay, so I'll tell you which ones you got right.
Handball.
I'll tell you which ones you got right. Direct red card.
Yeah.
Penalty / no penalty.
Yeah. Wait, offside? No.
No, because
goal / no goal.
Okay, so that's
that
was they can't do it on offsides if it doesn't lead to a goal.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you got goal / no goal, penalty / no penalty, direct red card, and this does not include a second yellow. Mm-hmm. This is just direct red card. You're missing one more.
Ball goes out of bounds.
They can do a VAR every time the ball goes out of bounds.
They do. That's what they did for the Arsenal game, Newcastle.
No, because it was leading up to a goal.
It was leading up to a goal.
So anything that leads to a goal, anything that leads to a violent red card, anything that leads to a penalty or non-penalty.
It doesn't happen as often, which is why you're forgetting it. But when I tell you it, you're going to be like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Has it happened?
Like I would assume so. I don't know all the VAR situations, but it's not that uncommon that you would be like, it's never ever going to happen. I'm sure it's happened or it will happen at some point. This is also the part where people tell us, just get to the damn point in the video, in the comment section.
Red card. Goal. What was the other one? Red card, goal,
Penalty.
penalty.
Damn, this time I'm going to actually have to speed up the clip in order for this not to be a 10-minute video.
I don't think I'm going to get it.
So you give up? I have stumped you?
I hate saying that out loud.
Fair enough. We don't have all day, to be fair. So
Well, we do technically. The day just started.
1:53 in the morning on a Thursday. All right, I'm gonna say I stumped you guys.
Yeah, you did. Go ahead.
The last one is mistaken identity.
You know what's crazy?
When the referee cautions or sends off the wrong player of the offending team.
I
would have never guessed that.
Theo Walcott, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain against Chelsea. That happened.
Was there VAR though? That wasn't VAR.
That was before VAR. I think Ox dove and saved the ball.
And they gave it to
They
Theo
gave
Walcott.
the red card to Theo Walcott, and I was like, "That's not even the right person."
Yeah.
I think it was Michael Oliver.
I would have never got that.
Really? I think you would have gotten it at some point.
I mean, it's not something I think about. Like,
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Like, it's not.
Damn it!
Like, I'm replaying games right now, and that would have not crossed my mind. Of like I thought about getting sent off, and then being brought back, and just saying a yellow card instead of a red, but that wouldn't be mistaken identity. That's just red card.
No.
All right. So
Good one.
Coach Javi wins. All right, last part. Last part is this. Hold on, let me find it real quick. No, that's not it. All right. The last one is a fun fact. All right. And it's not a trivia question. I thought it was a trivia question. It's not a trivia question. Did you know N'Golo Kante, when he was at Chelsea, played 4 matches consecutively? Not consecutively as in they were right after each other, but his 4 matches consecutively.
Can I guess? I know this one, but
Go ahead.
no, I'm just kidding. Go on. This is a good one. This is a good one.
So he played 4 matches under 4 different managers.
Yeah.
So he played 1 match, and then the next match he played was a different manager. Next match he played different manager. Next match he played different manager. Isn't that crazy?
You should have made the trivia. Who are the 4 managers?
All right, who are the 4 managers?
No chance. Oh, once.
Potter, Tuchel, Pochettino, and no, they appointed Pochettino at the end of the season. Tuchel, Potter, and then I won't get the interim coach they had. And then who do they start?
Lampard.
Yeah, Lampard.
I believe it was
and then
Lampard.
they had-
I'm looking it up right now.
They
Yeah.
had another one of their assistants was an intern.
Yep.
He was dark-haired, shorter guy. I think I could forget his name.
Bruno Saltor. You guys would have never guessed it probably.
Yeah.
So let me just read this really quickly. So
Because you were like play, get injured, play, get injured, play, get injured.
yeah, so he that's exactly what happened. He played for Frank Lampard. And then after Frank Lampard, so I think it was Thomas Tuchel, Frank Lampard, Graham Potter, and Bruno Saltor?
Sounds right.
Or wasn't Tuchel after
No,
Graham Potter?
Tuchel was first.
Oh yeah, so they fired
Tuchel started the season.
Got Graham Potter.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Lampard finish
Sorry.
the season?
Tuchel, Lampard,
Yeah.
Yes.
Potter, Bruno Saltor.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's crazy. Can you imagine 4 games and you're playing for 4 different managers?
That is crazy. In the matter of that it wasn't like that much time either. It was a matter of like 4 months or 5 months. Not
yeah,
even.
I think it was a little bit more because it was one that was a longer injury that he picked
Was
up.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, his hamstring, right?
Yeah, the serious hamstring injury. Crazy, crazy.
That is crazy.
What a player he was.
What a player.
Where's he at now?
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
Making that money. Good for him.
Make all the money.
I mean, he did it all. Really,
all
he
the
did
money.
it all really fast. Would you?
It's definitely easier. It's definitely easier when you feel like you've probably reached your peak,
Yeah.
and your next
Yeah.
opportunities are going to come at a lower club, or they're going to be at Saudi Arabia where they're still going to pay you a crap ton of money because of your name.
Where would you put him in terms of, like, talking about people who are underrated? I would say he's probably up there. Obviously, I think a lot of people think he's really good, but I think he's one of the main reasons why Leicester was as good as they were. Obviously, they had Vardy and Mahrez, but their whole
But the
midfield
engine
went
in
with
the
him.
midfield.
World Cup with France, Premier League with Leicester, Champions League with Chelsea.
Yeah. I don't know if I would say he's underrated, but I definitely. But yeah, I mean, maybe he is underrated.
I mean, it's not.
Arguably the best to be
I mean, people give him
at
credit.
that position. Yeah, people do give him credit. Absolutely.
Yeah, I like Conte a lot.
All right. Well, that's it for this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, make sure you follow us on all social media channels. Joe, do the thing where I don't actually put the overlays here. So you
It's
just
only
look
2
weird
in the
doing
morning,
that.
guys. So
Yeah. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
12 hours.
In 12
Like, what are we going to talk about today?